Hello everyone. I'm really pleased to have Micheal Muir with me again today. How are you doing, Micheal?
I'm really good. It's early morning, but I'm ready to go. Yeah.
So me and Micheal are both on very extreme timelines. I'm just about to go to bed and Michael's just woken up. So both of us are not quite with it, I don't think, at the moment. But we're going to do our best, right, Micheal? Um,
That's true. That's true.
so what have you been up to recently and what have you got coming up?
Oh, okay. So I've been continuing doing light language activations online and in Australia in
Yeah.
Sydney live. Um, so based at both most of those events have been focused on double digit numbers. So like the 6 portal, the 5 portal, that kind of thing. And also working on those potent energy days and also working with the new moon, full moon energies. And just really, I feel that it's been full on really since the March equinox. Just the energies have been very powerful and
Mm.
very deep. So sort of triggering my own stuff to be cleared, own shadow work, deepening into my own heart space, all that kind of jazz. And also working with clients one-on-one in a similar way, but just seeing a whole lot of um, deep stuff coming out in people at the moment, deep personal stuff, as you can see in the spiritual community, in the bigger community as whole. So it's been I've been guided to sort of lay low a little bit um, in the month of June, even though I'm not really, but I'm still working. But just that I feel like there's a lot of energy. It's a preparation. I feel June preparation for um, new expansion. And so I feel like this month in particular, I did the 6 portal at the beginning of the month, and that was about I called it the name of, I don't really get a whole detail of what I'm going to do on the workshop, a bit like us doing this. I sort of put a name out of,
Yeah.
so I called it the new foundation session.
Yeah.
And then I do the 2 hour channeling, which involves light language and spoken English. And it was really about bringing codes, energy codes through light language, and just the energy that I sort of resonate through my being, to I feel establish a new foundation. This is what I was getting about June. It was about establishing a new internal foundation matrix, which feels like it's through the whole chakra pillar.
Mm.
And and I feel like this is linked with, it's linked with the new earth grids, if you will. It's linked with us being the conduits for the new earth grids.
Yeah.
So it feels like that part of what's going on right now. And as always, I'll just say my view, and if it resonates, please take it. If it doesn't, that's okay too. But I feel like there's energy coming in since the equinox time, that's bringing in sort of an anchoring in a new matrix energy, a new, if you don't want to use that word, a new light that is allowing us to see more of our own stuff, but also out there in community, for example. And this is also bringing in, I think, us more into our original essence, our original soul, our original energy. If you're connected with the starseed sort of energy, cosmic energy, angelic energy,
Yeah.
and I feel this is part of us getting a stronger for deeper service work, because it does feel like there's more unraveling quite quickly uh, here and there. Yeah.
That's very interesting that you talked about that because I had Joseph Anthony on last week. He's an astrologer that you might have heard of. And he
Mm.
was saying that from an astrological point of view, this month is going to
Mm.
be very confusing for people in the sense that the energies could be so intense that it could even
Mm.
create like a psychosis,
Um,
where people just can't manage the energies coming in at all. Um,
mm, mm, mm.
and when you're talking about, that we're conduits between like heaven and earth, the matrix above and the ley lines below, that's really
Yes.
interesting as well, because a couple of weeks ago I channeled something called the Matrix of Love, which was through Lord Katumi, and they teach me quite a lot about this aspect of what you're talking about us being the conduit between the energies above and the energies below, and we are the links to make it all work, to make the matrix of love. And so when I've been meditating, I've been seeing very clearly the spirals of energy coming in and, coming down, like you said, through the chakra column. And it's very obvious that it's coming and joining us, as you said, as a conduit between the two layers. So, that's very interesting that you've brought that up. I don't know if you know that I've been over to Kauai as well recently. I was on the Truth Tour with the Lewis Herms group, and yeah, and they had a truth tour event in Kauai. And what I noticed when I was there was that it had incredible spiritual energy. And what I've recently found out from one of my viewers is that Kauai is known for the fact that it's like an island of enlightenment, like for it's a vortex of energy, and they refer to it as the island of enlightenment. So what was interesting, Micheal, was when I was meditating on the beach there, the angels would just come in like with no effort, like just whoosh straight in, and they gave me a pearl. And when I looked up the meaning of pearl, it means enlightenment. So this was all like connecting together. And while I was also there, just going back to these intense energies, what I did on the Truth Tour was I got the group of people, I set them all up outside to do an angel meditation. And we had about 60 people. So we had a circle on the outside, circle on the inside. We got the energies up really high. We created a vortex, and then I got them all to bring their guardian angels down. And what I witnessed, Micheal, and I would love to hear your viewpoint on this, after, was that when you raise your light very high, like we had done in that moment, what I was seeing around me afterwards was where I had already been aware that there was some infiltration from groups that didn't want, let's say, the best spiritual energies to occur. By creating this big vortex of love, by bringing in the angels, it was like acting like a mirror to the dark energies that were trying to infiltrate. And very quickly after that, I was seeing this kind of blowback effect on the people that were trying to harness bad intention. And it was like, the reason I'm telling you this, Micheal, is not because we don't understand the workings of light and dark, but because going back to what you were saying, it's almost like at this time right now, the energies are so high that people cannot hide their bad intention. They can't.
Yeah.
So it's like literally falling apart everywhere. I don't know if you've had any experience of that.
So I feel aligned with what your experience is around the fact that I've also feeling like I've been stepping up energetically and bringing more of myself into the work and been a bit more bold with what I say. And that has also had some back, if you will, around other folks in the community. And it sort of feels like we're all very tender right now. And this is bringing up a lot of, child potentially wounding, and also I feel a lot of persecutions coming out and of the matrix. This especially I feel is very powerful in our spiritual community, because obviously most of us have been around a while, all sold kind of business, and so we've been through many lifetimes, and so we have a lot of past life trauma around our gifts, speaking up and all that kind of stuff. And I feel that at this moment, there's a bleed through from other timelines because of the intensity of the energy. There's a bleed through of memory of persecution, which I feel is playing out in our community. And I feel that people are a bit more alert and a bit more anxious, and a little because of the intensity of the energy. And this is also, just as you were saying about there's no way to hide, it feels like people are popping a little bit, you know, in how they are acting, and then it's coming out towards each other. And it feels, yeah, I think this is why we're also been strengthened, and the foundational codes are coming in so that we can hold
it
disruption. Yeah, because it's harder right now. Yeah.
So for many years before I started channeling about you know, the military and Trump and all those things, going all the way back to sort of 2012, when I was channeling a lot about from sort of Commander Ashtar and the Great White Brotherhood, they were telling me all the time, you know, about this matrix and how we were the leaders of the light, and we had to go up right up in the front, sometimes feeling very alone because we had to make the grooves. They called it the energetic grooves, and that we went up, we went in front of the others. We make the energetic groove, which they can then follow and come up behind. And
Yes.
and I think that we've got a lot more people with us right now, but to some extent, we are still those sort of light warriors that are holding it steady for everybody. So I definitely agree with you on that. The other thing that you were saying about, you know, you've been a bit feeling like you've been a bit more bold with what you want to say. Interestingly, at the beginning of the year, they normally give me, for some reason, the Chinese look at the year based on the sign that we're in that year. And at the moment, we're in the year of the rabbit. And what they've channeled to me at the beginning of the year was that this year, when we're in the year of the rabbit, our focus would be on truth and integrity. So this might be another reason why I'm feeling it too. I'm feeling like, do you know, I'm just not going to be saying everything to please people. I just have to say what it is. I just have to be clear about what this is. And I see sometimes that can create a little bit of waves with people. So I've sort of been feeling like that myself as well. And I didn't put it down to this persecution thing from previous lives, but that kind of makes sense that as the layers are getting taken off with these new light codes, that we can feel a little bit exposed, maybe. Maybe that's what the word is, being exposed, you know.
Yeah, and I definitely feel like that's part of it. And you know, you keep motioning to this area when you're talking about the rabbit, the truth, your experience in Kauai, and I feel like there's this whole sort of area of the high heart space above the heart and the throat, which has kind of been quite strongly worked on at the moment, so that we can connect with our soul's deeper truth. And I feel that is why there's also sort of fractions happening within the community, is because as these new light codes in, our version of truth is changing, our internal version, and that allows us to kind of, I feel, see things then with a different lens that we may not have seen before. And sometimes I feel that is quite shocking when we sort of suddenly take a lens of or subconscious view off and suddenly see things in a different way. And then I think it is also about the speaking of the truth, you know, the rabbit, the speaking through integrity of the chakra. So I feel like these two areas, especially right now, have been kind of pummeled by the energies to sort of, for us to release old stuff that keeps us kind of safe and hidden, and Atlantean, Lemurian, and all that jazz in the codex of our being has been, I think, unraveled a bit more, so that we don't recreate an Armageddon timeline, you know, through our collective consciousness.
I think I've always been someone that likes to speak honestly. I don't tend to dress up things. I don't mean that I say things to hurt people, but if someone asks me something directly, I often give a direct, straight, what I would consider a straight, honest answer. And what I'm finding at the moment is that doesn't seem to be being received very well. Everybody seems very tender, very like on edge, very, like you said the word, and I'm doing this up here again, but you said the word pummeled. And people around me, when I'm talking, wherever, they do kind of respond in a way like they just can't seem to take any more. And when you give them a true answer, it's like, even though they'd asked for you that question, it's almost like they can't take the answer. It's not necessarily they don't want the answer. It's almost like they're so burnt out at the moment with all this self-development that it's just another thing that they now have to think about. It's like they just feel very I'm getting the feeling of people's skins feeling very sensitive to everything.
And
spiritual skin. I mean, not necessarily the physical skin, but like their spiritual skin feels like they just cannot take another thing. What do you think about that?
So I'm going to get the giggles again if we're not careful. But I feel with that, but we did get the giggles earlier. But I feel like this is about the spirit. I do feel you're right, spot on, Micheal, because the spiritual skin has been expanded. You know, the light codes are bringing in I feel like they're sort of like we're widening the channel, and so it's almost like we've just moved outside of the usual limits of ourselves a little energetically, and so everything just feels really sensitive. And that's why I feel like Spirit was saying June is a month to kind of just also look after yourself, because you are going to feel a little bit more raw. And I think it's true. I think people's paradigms are being really rocked, you know? And I think that's leading into, whether it's personally or whether it's narrative-wise, I feel like people's paradigms have been knocked so that we can expand out of where we've been. But that is also quite scary, I guess. I mean, I know I keep saying I just want to be more expanded, high, blah, 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 blah. But then there's also that sort of ego part that says, yeah, but do you really want to change? So I guess people are sort of feeling a change, a deep change from within. That is kind of overwhelming, I feel, for people. I've noticed a lot of people in my sort of circles, a lot have gone a bit underground at the moment. People are kind of hiding, I think.
Kind of recouping a little bit. And just for people that might be listening that don't really understand what the process is, the way that I normally explain to people when I'm teaching them is that when you do any form of spiritual practice, you bring in something called light. And as that light sort of enters through your energetic system, it means that anything that you don't need anymore, maybe that's old patterns of thinking, just blockages in your energetic system that might just be sitting around, they have to be kind of pushed out. And so what that creates, as you know, and Michael will be able to explain it probably better than me. But what happens is, as you bring that light in through your spiritual practice, you're then going to have repercussions because you've done that. While the old has to be, it's a little bit like when you do a detox, you know, when you do a water detox for a few days, or a juice cleanse, or whatever you're doing, you just feel terrible. You just feel terrible because your body is just moving out everything you don't need. And so what me and Michael are talking about, for people that may not be understanding what we're saying, is that spiritual people that are already doing this all the time are finding that quite intense, and they're sort of choosing to not do so much, maybe so much spiritual practice, because it's exhausting, because the light levels that are coming in now, it's like doing a super ginormous detox, you know, on every level, and it can be quite exhausting.
I feel so, and I think there's no pauses anymore. That's what it feels like, you know. It just feels like it's ongoing. And yes, we are and it is upgrading all our systems, our cellular system, our energetic system. We are releasing a lot of negative imprinting, ancestral karma, persecution stuff from past lives. It's all been cleansed out so that we can take our work to another notch, or raise our vibration to another notch. But having said that, it is exhausting and it is nonstop. So I feel like people are choosing to kind of take stock and take breaks. And I think it's also a lot to the psychological as well, you know, trying to navigate all this change and navigate sort of when people do kind of spray from the side because they're going through stuff, you know what I mean, or don't have the clearest intention. So I feel that it's a lot right now. It's a lot for everybody, and I think this is why we have to try and practice staying in our hearts, of course, and taking the time that we need to sort of self-regulate and come back to ourselves. Lie on a beach.
I think this is true. Yeah, lie on the beach. Self-care. You just need to remember your self-care, because as I was saying earlier, we are warriors. We are at the front. We are doing a very big job, and it is actually okay to have look after yourself, because that's actually the most important thing we can do right now. Because if we don't take care of our energetic systems, we can't serve it the best way.
Sure.
When we were talking off camera, and I mentioned about the pearl that I'd seen in meditation, you said that you had some idea about that linking also to the throat, which you said I keep when I'm moving my arms and everything around.
Yeah.
The reason you mentioned that, Michael, was that because your training is it psychomatic?
Semantic. I did semantic psychotherapy, which was kind of a body focused counseling, if you will. So that sort of was my initial training. So I do have a bit of a focus on the chakra, not just the chakra pillar, but also the body as a kind of a way to work with the light as well. So I'm doing channeling with light language. Often it's based on particular chakras, releasing, clearing, opening. And when you were speaking about your experience in Hawaii, I just got quite a strong knowing or sort of feeling around an activation of purity and truth for the throat chakra. It feels like whatever, this is just what I've got from what you said, was whatever you did around the group. And I love the fact that there was a circle within a circle kind of protecting. And it feels like the light that you brought down, the angelic frequencies that you brought down, opened the throat. And from what I kind of know is that it's obviously a very spiritual place, Hawaii, and also there's the volcanoes there as well. And I'll tie that back to something I did with the 6/6 portal, but so it's a very feminine Lemurian energy there, goddess, I feel,
Yeah.
energy. So it's which is probably going to amplify with any work that you did as well, which is amazing. And because you've got that energetic support, but it also feels when I was working in the 6/6 portal, we did this kind of, I sometimes take people on little guided journeys during the activation, and we went under the ocean and worked with pyramids under the ocean, and we kind of worked with activating this ring of fire around the earth, and it was around linking the pyramids of the earth, seen or unseen. So it feels like there's some sort of shift going on around the pyramids and around the linkage of them. And I kind of curiously wonder if that's why there's a lot more, seismic activity going on. There was the volcanoes just erupted in the Philippines. There's all the wildfire stuff going on in Canada. So it feels like there's a lot of underground
Activity.
shifting.
Yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah. And you said that you're thinking that Kauai and Hawaii are linked into the Lemurian regions. That's
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, definitely. I mean,
Someone else?
definitely that
I have
energy.
heard that from
Yeah.
somebody. Yeah, you're not the only person that's told me that actually. Now I'm thinking about it. But when we were talking before, you said I was telling you about my meditation with the pearl. Did you say that you
Hmm.
had something that you had coming through about the pearl and how it works with
So
the throat chakra? Is that what you were
yeah,
saying?
yeah. So I mean, we can do a little bit of channeling if you want, and I can do a little bit of light language.
My favorite. This is my favorite, Michael, when you do this. I hope I'm not putting you on the spot because
What?
this is the bit I look forward to.
So, well, I mean, I can just go into channel and we can see what comes through around um, the information around the pearl energy and what truth and integrity. Like you spoke about the rabbit, the year of the rabbit. And if we think about what we've been talking about in regards to, I used to have rabbits, by the way, just so you know, but but so their energy, their energy is very sweet. They're a little bit jumpy. The nervous systems are very sensitive. So it feels like it's aligned with what we've been saying about how people are a little bit raw and a bit sensitive right now. So I feel like this is, well, we'll just do what we do, I guess. Should we do that?
Well,
So,
I can tell you now, Michael, that when I had you on the first time, that people really loved this part that you do, where you bring in just in the moment
okay,
whatever comes in, and
okay,
you translate it for us. So I'm
okay.
so pleased that you've offered to do that today. So thank you.
Okay, thanks, my love. Okay. So, so you can just watch my energy, or you can close your eyes if you want. Whatever you feel to do is easy. And so, for people that may not have met me before or seen my work, so light language is series of sounds that don't make any sense to the auditory ear, and really, you just have to listen to it as frequency, as energy, and let the experience touch you, feel what you feel. You may feel some movement energetically. You may feel some thoughts, or have thoughts, flashes, visuals, or you may just simply feel calm and relaxed. It depends on the person. But really, just receive as though you receive during the rest of this interview, and just have the experience you have. There's no right or wrong. So we would say we are the the Pleadian High Council, and we are grateful for you for this opportunity to bring through some energy for yourself, Micheal, and the tribe. We are, as always, linked with the military and the guardian consciousness, so aligned with these messages that you are bringing through. And this is a message for the children of Lemuria. So this is for those beings that have energies that are not of this time, but of this time. And we say that you know yourself from the days of Lemuria. And at the time of the Lemurian Holocaust, there was much persecution and dissolution of the grids, and particularly the energy of this area, we would say your throat chakra in your now vessels. This is because the innate purity and the energy of the Lemurians was outstanding, if you will. And so in returning to your innocence and purity in your vessel, in your now consciousness, you are being required to unearth these old remnants of these energies, such as the persecution of the light, such as the persecution of the speech, so that you may step up into further service and higher echelons of connection with Source. So this opening, we would say now, of inner truth and integrity and purity is a opening of a divine pearl. So all you have to do is let this sound resonate through your consciousness, reconnect with your Lemurian essence, and swim with the whales and the dolphins. Shibata de Gibota Tarakata Shalabark Bututuna Shale get Digibata Nanaka Shalaburka Batutu to take a randa the Kabatanda the Kabarkavata Tanaka. Shipatikabata randa the Kabata Shalaburka Bogatika Shabatikiti Shabakatikiti Shabatikatiki Shabatikatiki. Take a gentle breath. It is safe. It is truly safe for you to now open the pearl of Lemuria. So it is. So it is. So it is. Amen.
Wow. Thank you. So what I was drawn to do when you started that, I had this crystal sitting, I just have it here by my computer. And when you started, I just wanted to pick it up, and I held it here for a little while because for some reason I was getting a lot of discomfort actually in here, even though you were working with the throat. And you're an expert on crystals. Can you see that one?
That's quartz, quartz crystal, beautiful. Is it? I mean,
do you have any feelings why that crystal in that moment they wanted me to maybe hold it sort of here? Does that mean
it's interesting because this is the high heart space that I mentioned earlier, which is like the place of the seat of the soul, if you will. I feel, and I've like what I got a visual while I was doing the whole light language and a thought. I'm not so visual myself, but a thought was that when you were doing this pearl activation in Lemuria, I mean in Hawaii, I felt like you can really deeply connected with the Lemurian aspect of you, and it feels like that heart opened and brought through the energy and as shifting things. And this is, and it's also, I felt that was that crystal, that quartz crystal put there, was your part of your Lemurian aspect supporting itself for you to bring in this deeper truth, deeper knowing, more soul energy, and also to support any fears from Lemuria of persecution or not being seen, that kind of energy when things got tough. It feels like there's some past life bleed through that's been released, especially here. Wow. And I'd say this is a collective vibe as well, and that this. So I think it's important. I would say it would be important to keep putting that crystal there for a week or two.
It's a very beautiful, it's quite a pretty one. You can see it.
And it's sort of, and it kind of feels very Lemurian in itself. I don't think it's Lemurian quartz, but it feels like.
But it does look like a Lemurian quartz, but I don't think it is. But I do know what you mean.
Yeah.
That's interesting. And that it just happened to be, because we didn't plan anything we were going to say, so it's just interesting. It was just there like that. But then that's how things unfold. And the other thing that was very interesting was when you talked about the dolphins and the whales, that whenever I see those animals, like if I've ever been to one of those kind of sea life centers or anything, and you watch the display, I just cry the whole time because I can feel like the connection to them very strongly. And it's almost like I can communicate with them in that moment. So I think that what you were saying today about the whole Lemurian energy in Kauai, I definitely feel like something very powerful was going on. And maybe that was the purpose of me going to that trip, because I'd never been to America before, and I'd never been to Hawaii or Kauai before. So maybe as a light worker, that we get drawn to put light into the grid, which is where we started. Maybe I had to be there that day to create enough light with the group so that we could make that conduit light between all of us and fix something within the matrix of the grid. I'm feeling that might be what my role was actually for going there.
It does feel like it definitely feels very resonant when you speak that, because I think over and over we get guided to places, even if we're going there with a different intention. And then if we bring through, and then sometimes we end up going on a bit of a different journey once we're there. And it feels like, it just feels like you brought so much light through with I mean, I also, like, as you say, as you said, it feels like it sort of went down through your conduit and the people around and kind of filtered out through the whole area, which could cause some friction in certain individuals as well, as they felt that. So I feel it sort of resonates with this whole, like, massive energies that are coming through, and then the ricochet effect of that, in our own personal journey, but also in those around us, for sure. Yeah.
Well, Micheal, that was another amazing session with you. I always look forward to having you on. Is there anything else that you wanted to say before we finish today?
I don't feel so. I feel like we've done what we needed to today. It feels good. It feels really beautiful to reconnect as always. And that Lemurian piece feels really powerful and important. So I hope people can work with that again, if they feel like it resonates with them and they're wanting to release, I guess, energies that may have held them back, in their spiritual work, or bringing their gifts forward, that kind of shenanigans. You can come and see me, obviously, but you could also, work with that little light language transmission, because I think it will release some of the persecution trauma about being seen, about speaking up. And I feel like, especially if you've had a lifetime in Lemuria or remember a lifetime in Lemuria, especially if you're also working with light language as a channel. Many light language channels had quite horrible stuff happen in Lemuria. And I feel like this is a way to sort of release the vocal area. So that's also something that people can investigate in themselves, obviously. But yeah.
And what I'll do, obviously, Micheal, is everything where people can find you. I'll link it all down under the video. But
No
before
worries.
I just let
Yeah.
you go, I've got
Yeah.
these
Yeah.
self-mastery cards, and I just
Oh,
pulled
yeah.
I pulled one out for you randomly before
Oh,
you just as a little message for you. And what I got was compassion.
oh,
And the message on the card, and this is for you.
yeah.
As a master, I have gone to the depths of the ocean of mistakes.
Wow.
Recognizing mistakes for what they are, I am no longer judgmental, but I truly love unconditionally. Isn't that nice? And
That,
I and
yeah,
I think that's really a lovely message for you today. You always bring such love to the interview, and if it and I'm sure that everyone else can see and feel it as well, is that you are the biggest spiritual light, and your heart center is so
oh,
open and bright that it almost is blinding me. So
gosh.
I wanted you to know that whatever
Oh,
you're doing, even if it's just recharging right now, you are absolutely a brilliant light. And
no,
so
thank you.
I just wanted you to know that I can see and feel it.
Thank
Okay.
you, my love. Thank,
And
thank you so much. And
it's lovely to see you. And and while we've been talking, it's now the light's coming up for you, and the light's gone down
okay.
for me. Yeah.
It must be bedtime.
I think
Yeah.
next time, because it's so early in the morning for you and so late in the night for me, we should both do this in our pajamas and our favorite pajamas, which I think yours was Spider-Man, I think.
Oh, of course.
Whereas- anyway, take care, lovely boy, and we'll see you next time.
Okay.
Okay,
So
bye
much.
now. Bye.
Bye bye.